Hey everybody, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I'm doing my last broadcast to you guys live from sunny Southern California, the Newport Beach area where I used to live. I'm back in my old condo from years gone by, and I want to do some shout outs. I got Ruben from Australia. I got A's, another Dane in the house. November Rain from the UK. I got Lori Leitz. Hey Lori, what's going on, girl? What's up with the thumbnail? I was just laughing with my associate Bob about the thumbnail. I said, because it's supposed to look like a Pinocchio nose, not a phallic symbol. And but anyway, I think it makes the point. Wah, wah, wah. Anyway, 7 lies vocal coaches tell, online vocal coaches. So we're going to get to this in a minute. We got Joseph Zulna. I don't know where you're from, but you didn't say. Arangues Cottage from JJ. Where's JJ? Where's JJ? Elisa Music. Ken. Let's see here. We got Olivia. Hey, Olivia, come on. We have 100 viewers and 9 likes. Good job, Olivia. Thank you. We got Andre from Brazil. Hey, hi, Andre. Grey Tooth. Hey, Grey Tooth. By the way, supposedly, my daughter-in-law, Rainey, is supposed to come in. She asked me to please say hi to her, so I'm going to say hi to her. And my son, True, they're going to log in today at some point, and that'd be awesome. Nix Oxenford. We've got Alders from Indonesia. We've got Logan from Florida. We've got Connor from Hay. Wow, where is Hay at? Anyway, Hay from Omaha. John Jones. Hey guys, so I got a lot to cover today, and before we get started, everyone keep doing your shout-outs so people can see who's online. But today's going to be an interesting subject, and let me explain why. 2 things. The first thing is that it's really hard to talk about when people lie and not make it a negative, dark subject matter. But so know, though, that the reason for this is to equip you and not to just bash and, again, do a rank on other vocal coaches and do rants on them, because then I would be the same guy, like ranting on them, they could rant on me, whatever. But it's just to expose what's really going on in the singing industry. And I want to kind of preface a lot of this by talking a little bit about my own personal experience, okay? Because this is really important, because information does not come easy. Information is not just because someone's on TV, it makes them authority. And just because they're popular on the internet, it doesn't mean that the information they have is good or correct. So I want to really start there, because that was maybe the biggest nemesis I was faced with when I was trying to get good quality information about singing. Now, singing is very different, let's say, than going to a guitar player and wanting to learn how to play guitar. Because as you know, any instrument or any other discipline, sports or whatever it is, you can go to this guitar player and you could decide, if you hear him play, if you like him or not. Or maybe he's not even that great of a player, but he knows what he's talking about and he can play enough to demonstrate for you and teach. Now, we've covered this subject a lot, but it's really important because this is some of the stuff that I had to go through, and it cost me literally over $1 million I've spent on my voice to get this information. So, and by the way, one more thing. If KTVA may or may not be right for you, and that's okay. It's totally okay. Some people learn from other people just because of their personalities, and some people learn, because they want more printed material, or they want this or that or whatever, and there's nothing wrong with that. So KTVA may not be right for you. It may be totally right for you. So this whole thing is not some big sales pitch for KTVA. It's to share my story. You can decide if you resonate with my story, and then it's to equip you how to identify quality vocal coaches versus those who are just trying to sell you something. And that's going to be really important as we go along. So I've covered some of this, but I'd like to, by way of review here for a bit, give you a little bit of backstory on how I got to, singing, why I wanted to learn how to sing. Well, many of you know, I started out as a guitar player. All I cared about was being Jimmy Page growing up, or Joe Perry, or whomever it was, right? Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin, Carlos Santana, and so those are my guitar player heroes really early on growing up. Eric Clapton, all the greats back when, and I could care less about singing. Really, it just didn't mean that much to me. And so okay, by the way, some of you will read my testimony and say, wait a minute, you said you started playing guitar when you were 6 years old and then, started singing when you were 9. No, I said I played I Wish I Was an Army Man on ukulele in my parents' attic from a TV show called Rat Patrol when I was 9, but I didn't take singing seriously until I was about 19. 10 years later. So there's a big difference in that. And I wanted to be a great guitar player. Now, did I sing before that? Yes. I was sort of like a bad blues guy, belting out bad blues licks to get me in between my guitar solos. So singing was Twofold. It was not depending on the singer and not having to wait around some guy with a golden microphone. And then also, just wanting to find something to get me in between my guitar solos. That's all I cared about. And it wasn't until I was about 18, 19, really 19, that I started taking my voice really seriously. So what did I do? Well, I do what anybody does. And just like when I had a lot of guitar teachers. So some of you that really know me know that I took from guys like Lanny Cordola, who was in a band called American Heroes way back in the day. Went on to do another band called Jafria. Then he did House of Lords. He was in Vanilla Fudge, like a lot of different groups over the years. But he was just a fantastic guitar player, really. And I learned from a lot of really fantastic guitar players. They were awesome. So I'd go and I'd get Saturday morning or day or Friday or whatever it was, I'd go down and I'd get my lesson. Some guy would physically show me what my lesson was for the week. And I'd record it on my little cassette deck. I'd go back and I'd spend all week trying to figure this out. Then I'd go back to him the next week to learn something else. Now, this went on for years and years. And of course, I did my own studies and I put the needle back and listened to my own records and whatever and tapes and slowed them down to speed to where I could find a lick and then speed it back up, and this just went on and on and on. But the point is that I learned from people that could actually teach me. I learned from people that could actually teach me, okay? Very important. When I got into the game of trying to understand the voice, it was very nebulous and very esoteric. And by the way, that word means understood only by a chosen few. True story, all right? And everyone claimed to be great. Everyone bashed everybody else, and that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. That guy doesn't know. He sucks because he teaches this one thing over here. Oh, don't go to him because you'll ruin your voice. All these things. But nonetheless, I started on my quest on trying to find good quality vocal information. The very first vocal coach I ever studied under were two. It was a husband and wife team. They were named Melissa and Andy Bettner, and they're in fact right here locally. Now, I'm not going to say that they're good or bad teachers. I'm just going to say that the reason I went to them was I had heard that John Elefante back in the day was looking to try out for the band Kansas. We all know who John is, and we know the band Kansas. And he, in fact, did try out, and he took lessons, and it was already a good singer, but became an even better singer and joined Kansas, and, the rest is history. So I went to them because I'd heard that they were teaching John or going to teach John or something, whatever. And I'm not going to get to go into all the vocal coaches I've taken from, but I want to talk about quite a few of them so that you can know I can legitimize at least where my story is, and I can't speak for other people, but I want to call them on the carpet so that maybe they'll do the same. Maybe they'll tell you, how they came to be the awesome singers or coaches that they are. So this is important information, guys, because like I said, I told you I learned from guitar, and I learned from other, really great players too. If I'd mentioned their names, you wouldn't know who they were, but they were great. But anyways, a physical show me. It was by experiment, by demonstration. Okay, so as I went through this, so I went to Melissa and Andy, and I really, Andy first didn't feel like he was getting me very far, and then so he gave me to his wife Melissa, and she didn't get me very far, and I was trying hard, man. I wanted to know, I don't think I'm that stupid, right? But I just wasn't getting anywhere. I took for them for about 9 months. And but at this point too, guys, like money was really hard to come by for me. I was a kid. I think I was 16, 17 when I first started kind of dabbling just a little bit into it. And I've done everything from clean Carl's Jr.'s carpets at 2:00 in the morning to selling insulation in really sketchy areas to, carpet, I sold tickets for the American Council of Athletics for Olympics, panhandling, one of those guys knocking on your door begging you to buy raffle tickets and stuff. But anyway, so money came hard. And so it wasn't easy to do this, and they were expensive. These lessons were very expensive. So, but nonetheless, I sucked it up, and I said, okay, well, that didn't work. And so I said, well, do I just go, well, okay, I took from one guitar teacher that didn't teach me anything. What else, maybe it's just me, right? And I started really telling myself, well, gosh, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe this is all I can do. But I thought, no, my gut tells me that there's more than that. My gut was saying that surely maybe it's just a learning thing or communication and learning. So I went to several other big-time vocal coaches. And I'm going to go down the list of this, and this is now kind of pushing 18 years old, 19 years old. One of them was a woman named Elizabeth Sabine. She's in the Valley in Southern California. I think she's still teaching. And she was teaching in this whole technique, and supposedly she taught Axl Rose, and I want to get into that, how these coaches claim these other people's careers, but, all these different 80s metal guys or whatever. So I took from Elizabeth for a while, And the very first thing that Elizabeth did was she had me sit down in front of a television set, and she popped in this, and by the way, this is expensive, right? I popped in this videotape, and she's having me watch this video on how to cry like a baby. Straight up. That's her first lesson. I don't even know if she still does it. She still may. Now, this concept of crying like a baby also came from another well-known vocal coach who started out in the early 70s who coined the phrase twang. And I don't want to get into all these coaches. I don't want to take time. I want to get into the meat and potatoes of what we're going to talk about. But anyway, so getting back to Elizabeth Sabine, I took from her, and I just didn't learn anything. And I was showing my wife this stuff, at the time. She wasn't my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time, but became my wife later. And I said, hey, what do you think of this? She goes, well, she's telling you to cry like a baby, and that have you noticed that when babies cry, they can cry for hours at a time and they don't go hoarse. And so she was claiming that this is the basis by the method which she teaches, which is part of twang. Right? I can't make this stuff up, guys. This is straight, true story. And she goes, well, babies go hoarse all the time. They've been crying for a while. You can hear them go hoarse, and they, whatever. And I thought, yeah, that's right. Wow, I got suckered into believing that, I'm going to whine like a baby and it's going to make me a better singer. I'm paying a bloody fortune for this stuff. Now, I'm not saying she didn't have other things she taught or whatever, but I started to learn, okay, there's some chicanery going on. There's some funky stuff, like what am I to believe now? Like, where do I go with this? So then I took from a woman named Mary Burns. She was out of Canada. I did these cassette exchanges, and I'd send her a cassette of me singing. She'd send one back with an evaluation and some scales to do, and this went on. Now Mary Burns claims to have taught Bryan Adams and Wilson from Heart. I mean, this list goes on. Alana Miles from, and so surely she's good. She's got all these people that she's claimed she's taught, And man, I didn't learn anything. I mean, I could go down the Roger Love thing. I could go down all these different. So finally, I heard about a vocal coach in LA, and he was kind of more of an up and comer at the time. This is back in '82, long time ago, 1982, and his name is Seth Riggs. And he was I guess the story that I understand from a lot of people that took from him and knew him back in the day was a speech pathologist turned vocal coach. Helped or supposedly helped. Big names like Anthony Robbins, who is a corporate speaker. You probably know Anthony Robbins, right? Well, gosh, if he helped Anthony Robbins, I'm not sure how he did it because he still sounds like this, right? Lee Iacocca, who at the time was, I think he was like the CEO of Chrysler or something, big corporate speakers and heads of big corporations. And then, and I guess he met Cyndi Lauper at a Hollywood party, and Cyndi Lauper had said, hey, I'm having some vocal trouble. I heard you're a speech pathologist. I heard you do some corporate speaking, help with corporate speakers. Do you think you could help me with my voice? And so, cha-ching, all of a sudden, it went from, helping Cyndi Lauper to being the vocal coach of the stars. Now, I'm not here to bash someone as big as Seth Riggs. Seth Riggs has speech level singing. It's supposed to be the world's latest, greatest, best, But I will tell you, I did try it for many years, and it didn't work for me. Now, maybe I'm obtuse. I'm okay with that. Maybe I'm a slow learner. I don't think so, but could be. Or maybe some other things I did learn about singing were inconsistent and not really legit from what I know from my voice and people that I coach to help. Now, again, I'm not looking to make this some big bashing session and rants, and that's not the point. But the point is to show you that I had a backstory. I'm telling you who has helped me, who hasn't. So anyway, as I kind of was still on my quest, I went to go see another guy named Ron Anderson. Now, for all you guys out there that are in the know of vocal coaches, Ron. Oh, and I want to tell you how I found out about Ron. So at the time, I'd come off this tour. I was penniless and broke, and I got a gig selling TVs and video recorders at a place called the PX Camera and Appliance. And again, I want if you can, Google this stuff, look it up. I'm sure they're not around now because it's a long time ago. But anyway, I sold video cassette players, and televisions for a living. And so all of a sudden, as I'm on this quest and I tried these different people, Tiffany, the singer from back in the 80s, comes on television. And one of the TV salesmen goes, "This is my daughter." And she sounded pretty good, man. I was like, wow, cool. He goes, "Yeah, man. Ever since I hooked up with this vocal coach in Encino, he changed her life as a vocalist." And I went, man, I got to know who this guy is, you know? He goes, well, I'll tell you, his name's Ron Anderson, and he probably won't take you right away. And it's true, he didn't take me right away. But he said, you know, if you get in the queue of, you know, his students, you know, you could probably learn a lot from Ron. I took from Ron Anderson, as well as other vocal coaches, but I took from Ron Anderson from 1983 to 1991. And the bulk of those years I took for about an hour a week or every other week, whatever I could afford when I was cleaning carpets or doing this or doing that, whatever job I could find, sleeping on my mom's living room floor to be able to afford vocal lessons. And it's living in a very seedy, sketchy area. I had two cars I lost on the freeway that broke down, and I wasn't able to get back to them in time. They got towed away, and that was the end of it. Just going to my vocal practices. This, you can't make this stuff up, guys. This is like the sacrifices and the stuff that you do to try to get good stuff. But Ron did help me. Ron helped me tremendously. And Ron did teach Axl Rose, and Ron did teach, you know, a lot of these really great singers. Barbra Streisand. 1 minute, you know, Jack White was the lesson before me. And Janie, whatever his name is, I forget, you know, all these metal bands come in. Klaus Meine walks in one day, you know, all these guys, right? And so Ron could sing. And he's operatic, you know, he's more of a, you know, the big character operatic singer, but right, but anyway, but he could chill me, you know, and when I was like kind of struggling with something, he goes, no, it's more like open up that valve, get that soft palate raised, do this, do that, blah, 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 you know. And so as I was going through it, I had my very first vocal coach that could actually demonstrate it for me, okay? Very first coach. Now, in the midst of this, and I don't care if Ron gets mad or anyone gets mad, I just have to tell my story, okay? It was tough, you know. I mean, it was a 50-minute professional hour, and it was very expensive. It was like back then, $100, $125 an hour back in the early 80s, which is, you know, what, $600 or $700 a day, an hour, right, today's currency. A lot, you know, or that's his price now, I guess, or whatever. So, but anyway, you know, he was constantly answering the phone, and, you know, and I was like, gosh, you know, I only get 50 minutes, Ron, come on, you know, and I'd walk away with my total time on my cassette being 22 minutes or 30 minutes away, but at least I was learning something, you know, and I don't feel like Ron gave me everything all at once, otherwise I wouldn't have had to take from him for 10 years, okay, so, you know, and I know Chris Cornell took from him, I know, you know, there's lots of other guys that, Miles Kennedy, you know, right, all of these guys actually at some point, but at the same time, I also know that these guys took from other vocal coaches. So Ron wasn't the only guy that we all took lessons from. That's why I mentioned Seth Riggs early on. Now, I know Ron and Seth were, you know, Ron would bash Seth, Seth would bash Ron would bash Elizabeth Sabine, she'd bash Ron, you know. And so I was still getting kind of confused because I never got the concept of the passaggio and getting into head voice and mixed voice. I never got any of that out of Ron. I never got any understanding of distortion out of Ron. I learned later some of my vowel sounds could have been better. My vowel modifications could have been better. And I learned that from Leone Maggieri, who was Pavarotti's vocal coach at 53 years. So I took lessons from a lot of different guys. But I want to stay back in the 80s here for a minute. So anyway, I wound up taking from at the time his name was Dr. David Kyle. He became Maestro Kyle later, but I was flying up to Washington to get these, you know, lessons from Kyle because Kyle supposedly had taught Jeff Tate from Queensryche, you know, Bruce Dickinson had gone in, like all these other guys that had like really high range, and I'm like, wow, you know, and then he taught a concept polar opposite to what Ron taught. He taught early bridging. He taught, you know, don't exploit the voice, don't oversing the bottom, don't do all these things. Ron was like a pillar from the ground like this, and Dr. David Kyle, Maestro Kyle, was a pillar from building the voice from down like this, the opposite of the end of the hourglass. Like, so what do you believe? What's real? How do you know to make this stuff? And so I started trying by experiment. It was the only way I knew to do it, just like guitar. And so I took a little from this guy and I'd try it for a long time, and I'd give it a really fair shake in a year. If I can't do this in a year, I don't think anybody can do it. And so the information was very nebulous a lot of times and very unclear. And I am taking at this point, and that's why I mentioned Leone Maggieri from Bologna, Italy, is that he was Pavarotti's vocal coach for 53 years. So at least from a bel canto standpoint, when Ron would say something, there's other people I could defer to. And I could talk about people all over the world I've taken from, but I just want to give you a snapshot because I want to get into the meat and potatoes of the 7 lies online vocal coaches tell. But this is important stuff about when you're hearing information from somebody, what is their backstory? What gives them the credibility and the credentials to teach voice? Pretty important stuff. And yes, I went to school. And yes, I did those other things too. Those didn't help me at all. The schooling and the education that I got was good for nomenclature, understanding how to read musical notes and stuff. But when it really came down to singing, it didn't help me at all. It was the masters, the artisans, that I took from. So I would take a little from this, and oh, that works, but this doesn't. Gosh, okay. Well, let's set this over here for a minute. Okay, well, this doesn't work. Forget that. And this works, and this doesn't. Now, I would work out for a couple hours a day. I did it 6 days a week. When I'd go to rehearsal, it was like an hour and a half drive. Did it 3-4 days a week, and plus gigs on the weekends or whatever it was. And I would and up and back, by the way. And I'd spend all this time training, all this time trying stuff, all this time practicing. This went on for years. But the benefit that I had that was kind of interesting is the first major professional band that I joined in 1982 was a band called Joshua. And I was in that band for 4 years. And in that time, I was never the lead singer. I was the backup guitar player. He was billed as the fastest guitar player in the world, which is awesome. And I was sort of maybe the lackey he beat up on every night, or maybe the guy that exchanged dual harmony leads at best. But anyway, I wasn't the lead singer. I wasn't the lead guitar player, okay? Straight up. But what it gave me the opportunity to do is, in this band, we'd gone through over 40 member changes, 40. The University of Joshua, that should kind of tell you about how tough it was to be in the band and how tough personalities were to get along with in the band. 40 member changes in the time that I was in. It went way on beyond that, after I left. But the point is that, so in all these rehearsals, I didn't have to be the guy that delivered what Joshua wanted. It was a guy's name, and he wanted a really high singer. Mickey Thomas, Steve Perry, Brad Delp, like really super high. And at the time, that was the thing. That's what everybody was looking for, or a lot of bands were looking for. That's why Sebastian Bach and all these bands came from this era, right? So anyway, so I had to sing background vocals to these guys, which was even higher than their stuff. But the coolest thing was, I wasn't under the pressure of singing 15 songs or 20 rehearsal songs a night. The singer was, and I just kind of worked out my little vocal techniques in a live environment, in a situation, kind of like you're playing live. Very few people get the chance to do that. So, so I would kind of match my voice to his and do what I could. And it was forgivable if I couldn't get all the high stuff. But little by little, over 4 years of doing this, I learned more and more and more. And I began to take more lessons from different people, not just Ron. Like I said, Ron was awesome. What Ron did was he showed me that there were vocal coaches out there that did have legit information that could help me. Okay. And I just had to find it. And Ron was not the end all for everything I learned. Far from it. I learned a lot of stuff since then. Anyway, so as time ran out, and Joshua ended, and I continued to take from all these different vocal coaches around the world, and I traveled a lot. So I was a benefactor of taking from different coaches around the world. It's not like today where you can go online and get an online lesson, and then we're going to get to that now. So anyway, I had to give you sort of a little bit of my testimonial of this, to show you. Now, we're going to talk more about credentials because, in my personal opinion, I think that's really important. But I'm going to get into lie number 1. And again, I want this to be a positive. As you know, I'm a positive guy and I like to do things positive. So know that as I'm sharing this information, this isn't a rant, a bashing session. I'm not looking to rank on people. I'm looking to call out what I see as bogus information to help give you the tools and quality information for you to ferret out and decide what's good quality information. Like I said, KTVA may or may not be right for you, but how you can identify what's really going on. Okay, so lie number 1. Any vocal coach that tells you you can do something in an unrealistic amount of time, in a ridiculously unrealistic amount of time, is not telling you the truth. And I'm going to repeat this phrase a few times, okay? Anyone that's willing to deceive you to say that, what else are they willing to deceive you about? Even if they have good information. If they're willing to deceive you as a clickbait to get you to do something, you can do something instantly, or 30 days, or 5 easy tricks to do whatever. Consider the source. Consider why they're doing it, how they're sucking you in. I haven't even gotten to their credentials yet. I'm just saying clickbait. Run from that. It's a lie. It's number 1 lie. They will do and say anything to get your money, to try to get you. Now, in fairness too, there's a lot of people running around with suckers on their head, big S's on their forehead. And they want to believe that. They want to believe that they can lose all this weight by taking a pill and not exercising or not eating right. They want to believe that, there's some trick or some hack or some quick, path to something, some magic pill, whatever it is, that they can do so they don't have to put in the work. Well, guys, if that's the case, it's that old funny joke, when you're in a poker game, if you don't know who the sucker is you, okay? So if you're willing to believe that and you think that you can do something, we're going to talk more about what other vocal coaches say about this. And I'm going to revisit this because it's important. And I don't think you're going to remember it just from this one time I said it. So we have that. So now the next thing is, as they sell you on the fact that you can become a great singer in 30 days, or there's a 5 easy tips to be a great singer or whatever it is, or they'll tell you they could put an octave on your voice, guaranteed, or 30. Like I said, the 30-day singer guys, it was really funny because I see these, I watch the 30-day ad. These guys are running all these ads on my thing here, right? And it's funny because the opening video on one of their videos is a YouTube star, and the person never comes out and actually says they did his course. What they say is it's important to take lessons, so it makes it look like he did his course. But the first video out is crazy auto-tuned, right? So that's not teaching anybody how to sing. And just because it's a YouTube star doesn't mean that it's good and it's good quality information. And there's all kinds of smoke and mirrors with this. But it's ironic that it's auto-tuned. They don't even say that they've actually done the course. This guy's got a new course out, hasn't been around that long, and he claims to teach in 150 countries his course. Guys, 150 countries are not doing his course. Now, maybe over time with enough advertising, that may be true. But again, if they're willing to deceive you at that level, what else are they willing to deceive you about to get you to keep coming back to them, to put them on their subscription, or 30 days. Did I say 30 days? Wow, what I meant was 60 days. Well, in 90 days, that reminds me of another joke. It's the attorney, when the attorney's son comes out, asks the attorney father, hey, Dad, I got the senior prom coming up. Do you think I could borrow $100 for the senior prom? And the attorney says, $100? I can't afford $50. Go take this $25 and split it with your brother. Right? They keep egging you on. They keep, changing the goalposts, or moving the goalposts and changing the game for you, till all of a sudden you wind up going, wow, I've been doing this for a year now and I'm really not that much better. I mean, I could do a lip drill and a couple exercises, but certainly didn't become great in 30 days. Okay. So anyway, but the onus is on you. If you believe that stuff, and they make you a promise they can't deliver and you believe it, that's your fault. That's not theirs. Okay? But I do want to emphasize that this is what is going on. They promise something they can't deliver. Maybe they got some textbook information, or they regurgitated and borrowed something from another vocal coach. People do it to me all the time. They'll come up and say, hey, can you teach hyperglottal compression? And yeah, I invented the term. It's my phrase. Of course I can teach it. Oh, well, this other vocal coach says you don't do it correctly. I made up the phrase. I demonstrate it with me and my students, and I don't do it right. Yeah, we're going to get to that guy in a minute. So anyway, so let's get to line number 2. Line number 2, false hopes. They give you false hopes. Dude, you're awesome. Dude. Whoa, dude, right? And I don't want to confuse false hopes. Well, Ken, we got to have some hope. Of course we do. But I don't want to confuse that with genuine encouragement. This is important, guys. There's genuine, legit encouragement, and then there's bogus, false hopes. Now, again, we're going to talk about, I want to go over some definitions, some literal dictionary.com definitions, okay? Now, the word placate, by definition, I just cut and pasted these, to appease or pacify, especially by concessions or conciliatory gestures. Now, let me break this down. You're telling someone something they want to hear so that you can get them to do something for you in return. Basically, that's what it means, to placate, to tell them they're awesome, to tell them they're this or whatever, to get them to keep coming back to you, or to be under your authority or whatever. But placate. Smooge. Smooge is an actual word. It's an Australian slang word, by the way. Smooge. To gain favor, seek unwarranted recognition. To gain favor or seek unwarranted recognition. So they're smooging you. Hey, dude, awesome, man. Sycophant. A person who acts and kisses up towards someone in order to gain advantage over them. A sycophant. Okay? Now, all of these don't apply straight across the board, but obsequious. attentive to an excessive or servile degree for one's gain. Okay, attentive to excessive or servile agree to one's gain. So they'll deliberately tell you how awesome you are, you're the best, dude, you rock, you get to this, to get you in their graces and to get you to keep coming back to them because they want to appeal to your ego and stamp that big S on your forehead. Now, I'm not saying encouragement is, we want to be encouraged, but we also have egos and we want to believe we're something maybe that we're not. And if someone comes along and says, dude, you look so much younger than the last time I saw you 10 years ago. It's like, right, there goes the nose, right? You know, right? Maybe I do. Maybe I've been working out. Maybe I did something. I got a facelift. I don't know. But remember, a mind lift beats a facelift any day. And reinsert that. I've said that before. Anyway, so servile, having or showing excessive willingness to serve or to please others for one's gain. Now, I could go on with a lot of these definitions, but so they're literally playing you. They're playing you, and they're appealing to your ego. And I said, there's nothing wrong with encouragement, but let's not walk around with these big S's on our forehead, or we're the sucker, right? Now, they'll tell you you're really amazing when you're really not. Now, remember, I want to tell you a quick story. I remember I used to do all these vocal evaluations for free. I just wanted to help people. And yeah, of course, there's an absolute sales part to that going, hey man, if I showed you something that helped you, maybe you'll want to do my course. If not, no problem. I did it for free. You know, it was just a free thing that I did, the service I did. And sometimes I still do this when I can. But anyway, I remember someone had contacted me and they sent me this demo of a cover song that they did. And so they asked for an honest, legit evaluation. Well, I wouldn't give anything other than an honest, legit evaluation. So I did my best to encourage and inspire and compliment them where I could. But then I also pointed out things that were not right and that needed to be fixed, right? That's an evaluation. I think that's what you're looking for me as a professional, to give you my opinion, right? So anyway, so they contacted me about 3 weeks later, I think 3 weeks, a month later, and said, yeah, well, I contacted this coach out in Nashville, a very famous guy, by the way. You probably know who I'm talking about. And he told me it was one of the best covers he's ever heard. I'm like, there you have it. You know, there's used car salespeople out there and they'll tell you whatever, right? And it's ironic because I don't even think he really believed that. Maybe he did his own ego and he wanted to. But guys, that's not going to help anybody. What's going to help you is encouraging you with the things that you're good at, or at least casting a vision for you, giving potential for that, but then also being straight and going, hey man, we got to work on this. Dude, that's not right. It's how when you see KTVA singers, ask them. Go ahead. You have my permission. Contact any one of them. I don't care. They're all accessible. Ask them. They all take personal lessons from me. Ask them how beastly I am. I will tell them when they're great. I'll tell them when they suck. And I'll tell them how to fix it. I'll do it myself and demonstrate it to them. And then I will go ahead. By the way, it leads me to another quick story. As you know, I'm a Christian. I might have shared this before. And for whatever reason, Christians are looked down on as lesser, you know, some sort of subordinate / subculture kind of people or something who couldn't possibly be good at something. And anyway, so I was in the studio with a very famous bass player. And I was, as some of you that know me know, that I used to invite a lot of very high profile guest people on my records. And this particular bass player, it was on my Axe to Grind album, came in with a chip on his shoulder. And so ironically, it was in my song called Living for My Lord. And so I was trying to get him to play a bass line a certain way, and I was mouthing it, humming it, and this and that, you know, and I could tell he was just there for the money, and he knew other high-profile people were going to be on the record, and so he just wanted to attach his name to celebrities and stars and be on the record. But anyway, I got so frustrated with him, I grabbed the bass out of his hand, I played the part perfectly one time through and threw the bass back at him. Straight up. Now, I promise I won't do that if you come to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy. Don't worry. But it was just one of those moments. And he goes, F and H, shit, man, if you could do this, why didn't you just play this part yourself? I said, I needed your name. I don't care about your playing. Really? And he was like, buckwheat, right? I mean, he was being an a-hole to me. I was just telling it just like it is. Now, I've matured since then. I'm not as caustic as I was, and maybe I had a chip on my shoulder too because so many people did it to me. I was going to do it back to someone else, and I don't think revenge is a good thing for anybody. But how did I get on the subject? Anyway, we're getting back to people, to being honest with them about their playing and about the whatever. So now what was interesting about this guy is he comes around full circle about a year later and said, I have been taking weekly lessons from these guys at this place in Nashville, and I've learned a lip drill. They've showed me that I have a falsetto, which they told me they could put an octave on my voice. I guess that means they put an octave on my voice because they showed me I knew how to sing a falsetto. I could never apply any of it to singing unless it was super light, very light stuff, blah, 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 blah. Would you consider, working with me again? And I said, do the course. I'm not one of these guys, oh, yeah, okay, come see Ken Tamplin. No. Do the course, and after that, he did the course, and he went on to actually learn how to sing fairly decent. Again, discipline matters, and the amount of time you spend on something matters. But so these things are really, really important, guys. So line number 3, we're only at line number 3. I'm already 35 minutes into a monologue. Line number 3. Other vocal coaches will say things like, "Just push more air. Support. We need more support. Blow more air up. I think you got to think about the notes up in your head. They're up there, or lean forward when you sing. That was the first thing I got from Melissa and Andy Bettner. Come on. Picture the note in your head as you're leaning forward. Right? And then I want you to stand straight. I want you to pretend that your feet are anchored to the ground. I want you to pretend that you're one with the earth. I kid you not, straight up. I want you to imagine yourself anchored and become one with the earth. And I want you to put your legs out, and I want you to feel the sensation of pushing air down your back. And this will support. And then I want you to do the yui, and I want you to bring that sound up into the head. I'm like, am I in a sci-fi movie? Like, what the heck is going on here? I mean, I tried it. And there are some visualization things that do work, but to pretend that you're going to anchor yourself to the ground and it's going to give you all this energy to project these notes and stuff, it's like, I can't believe I believed that. I can't believe I even spent 6 months out of my life to try that to see if it worked. I tried it. I wish I had one of the gong show. You guys remember that? Where I could just gong and throw it out, going, that didn't work. So anyway, crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Now, I say this because I could go on about other stupid, utterly ridiculous exercises. Folks, let me say something about that. Very important. Whatever exercise you do related to singing or playing any instrument, this is an instrument, right? It should always have a correlation and a direct relation to practical application for singing. Let me say it again. It should always have a correlation and or a direct relation to a practical application to singing. It shouldn't be some weird thing that has nothing to do, that you'll never use, or maybe even embedding a wrong habit for something like singing the NG hum, where we try to get rid of when we understand that's a glottal stop and we don't want the back of the throat to spasm down. There's so many of these things that are like this, but always make sure that whatever you have is something is going to help you with actual singing. And just ask the question, hey, how's this going to help me with my singing? Oh, well, it's going to do, blah, 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 right? And then you get into other things we're going to talk about in a minute, baffle gab and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, they should always have some direct relation to help you sing, or at least have an explanation. Well, if you do this thing over here, you're going to be able to, it's going to be the beginning stages, and I'll move you through stages of how you're going to get over here to get to this place, okay? So the vocal coach should be able to explain everything to you and not pretend to have tribal knowledge and hide this information, and he's the expert, and you just bow to the altar of this guy because he's on TV or he claims to be an expert, okay? Very, very important. And like I said, you could be embedding something that is not cool. And then, the other thing too, I'm going to put a part B to this, is what vocal coaches would do to me is if I didn't understand support, or if I didn't understand head voice or falsetto or vibrato was a big one, right? They made me look stupid or feel stupid. Well, golly gee, but, you're the only one I know that hasn't understood this. Everyone else gets it right away. Come to find out, like, nobody was understanding it. Nobody was getting it. And they have this, this God complex where they make you feel stupid because you can't understand something. No, guys. What I do in KTVA is I try hard not to give you some very complicated. You probably can I was going to say complicated. You could probably get it by now that I have a command of the English language. And if I wanted to sit here and wow you with a bunch of 50-cent words, I could easily do that. I go out of my way to keep things simple so you can understand it. I can show you what it is. I can demonstrate it myself. I want you to learn. I don't want you keep coming back to me for fish. I want to teach you how to fish so you can do this on your own. You don't have to keep coming back to KTV. In fact, it's going to be another one of my lies here in a minute. But the point is that a good vocal coach, a genuine, legit good vocal coach, should be able to listen to any voice type. Remember, we went through the Vocal Fox. If you didn't see my live stream on that, you should. And listen to you as a singer, help you understand what your type is initially, and that can change if you work out your voice in different ways, right? But what your voice type is, how they can best help you, what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and they themselves should be able to demonstrate that. It's precisely what we do here at Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy. It's why you see these singers on my channel that are so great, because they learn by demonstration. That's what I do in my singing course. So that's what a really good vocal coach should be able to do, is help explain every exercise, tell you what the exercise is for, not just have you going through all these different exercises and you just go along with it because they're the authority and you're this pupil and you're, think that they've got it all together, right? So they shouldn't just take you through a random bunch of exercises, but they must be able to explain what those exercises are for and why. I do this in the course. So at least you understand, hey, I'm doing this because this is going to help me with my blah, blah, blah. I'm doing this because, yakety yak, right? So understand. Now, lie number 4, they lie about people that they've worked with. I want to get back to the big vocal coaches that I've taken. 1 minute, this guy out of Nashville says he taught this girl, famous girl. The next minute, this guy out of, the Valley in California says, no, I taught that famous girl. The next thing you know, that famous girl is over here taking from somebody else. Who deserves credit for her career? She does. She deserves credit for her career. She's looking for answers, and she's finding them where she can, and maybe she resonated with one of these guys, and maybe she didn't, but she gets credit for her career. I remember when Seth Riggs took credit for Stevie Wonder's career. And he took credit for Michael Jackson's career. And he took credit for Paul McCartney's career. And then I come to find out that when guys like Stevie Wonder, for example, went to go see him after a vocal surgery and didn't take lessons from him for a long time, just a few lessons, right? As he's taking credit for his entire career. I think it was in like the late 80s or something. I should have to look this up. I don't want to misspeak, so bear with me on the exact time frame. But so Stevie Wonder went to him in, let's say, the late 80s or whatever it was, and then he took a few lessons from this guy's after a vocal surgery, and then this guy takes credit. Well, the last time I checked, Stevie was pretty awesome before he ever went to anybody, and Stevie Wonder was Stevie Wonder and put out some of the greatest R&B records ever made. And so he has vocal surgery, and now he's looking for an otolaryngologist, a speech pathologist, someone that's going to help rehabilitate his voice. I don't think it's fair to take credit for someone's entire career and post it on your website. And by the way, Stevie's taken from a lot of other people too. And I could say that about Madonna, and I could say that about Barbra Streisand, and I could say that about a lot of people who have taken from all these other people. And yet one vocal coach claims their career. Nonsense. That they lie about people that they work with, if they've ever worked with them at all. I remember when I was talking about Mary Burns. Like I said, one of the reasons I wanted to go to Mary Burns, she taught this guy, she taught that girl, oh my gosh, Ann Wilson from Heart, sign me up. Oh my gosh, Bryan Adams, sign me up. Oh, Mike Reno from Loverboy, she taught, sign me up. She's claiming all these Canadian artists, probably because there was no way to verify that. Really, at the time, there's probably no way to verify it. In fact, that one famous vocal coach in Nashville who claimed to have taught a really big country star that lives in Australia or New Zealand or whatever, made him take it down off of his site. He had it put up on his site for a really long time, made him take it down. As he did with another really well-known Nashville pop girl, young pop girl singer who he claimed to have taught, and maybe she'd taken a lesson with him, 2 lessons, but certainly not responsible for, the total sum of their career. So they lie. They're liars, and they claim all kinds of stuff. So very, very important. Guys, if they're willing to do that, if they're willing to deceive you, what else are they willing to do? And again, I don't want to make this some big rant session. Sorry about that. Like I said, I'm a positive guy. You guys know me. I've been very positive. Now I'm positively telling you, guys, run from this stuff, man. Learn from it. KTV may not be right from you, but learn from it and go, okay, yeah, that's kind of weird. They don't sing. and they're not displaying any students that are great at singing at best, or they're not great, certainly not a voice I'd want to be like, right? Just get past the smoke and mirrors, do some research. Man, if you're going to go get surgery somewhere, I'd hope you'd really research the doctor that you're going to go to before just going under the knife, right? Crazy stuff. But anyway, so, and they all claim to have all this crazy vocal success, but I want to dive into a couple more people because this guy's really important. These guys crack me up. There's another famous vocal coach, I've mentioned him before, and he claims that doing vocal exercises are counterproductive. Think about that. We call ourselves vocal athletes. It's another big lie. Call yourself a vocal athlete. How can you possibly build a strong instrument, a strong group of muscles, without exercising? You just think about the note. Oh, I just sing. Or I do it when I sing. Or this. Well, if that's true, then anyone that just sang should be able to do it when they sing. Why should they come to a vocal coach at all? Because they find out that just singing or speech level singing like you speak, right? And another guy out there, that I'm going to get to him in a minute too, right? I'm going to get to all these different guys that have all this stuff, right? Anyway, so don't exercise and you'll be strong and have stamina for days and resiliency, all this stuff. Don't believe it, guys. Don't believe that stuff. We get strong by going into the gym and working out. We get strong by eating well. We get strong by, doing these things that we know legitimately are going to grow us. That's how we get strong. We got another guy. This guy, I'm going to mention his name flat out. I'm going to come right out and say it. He has a program. It's called Superior Singing. Okay? Superior Singing. And let me tell you, his name is Aaron Anastasi. And Aaron, you're welcome to listen to this. And Aaron, you can do whatever you want with this information. Early on, and I actually still have the lawsuit that we were prepared to file against something that he did early on. But he had at the time, he had a URL called How to Sing. And How to Sing was interesting because I was also going out how to sing like this guy, how to sing like that guy, whatever. And I had a video that was going viral at the time on YouTube. And it was a Jimmy Fallon video of me singing for Jimmy Fallon or whatever. And he's got some magic that he did back then where he did something called ghosting. And he was able to steal my video and redirect it to his site called How to Sing. Pretty sleazy. Pretty doggone sleazy. And I have all of the legal stuff on this. So if there's ever a legal thing that needs to come out as a result of this, we captured video of it. We captured the name of it. We've got all of this stuff. And I have a really gnarly law team that is willing to back this up. And so he stole it, whatever. And then I felt like he was kind of impersonating me when he was saying, hey, I got me in my church and I do this and that, right? But the interesting thing is, I'm not even going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about this one. False advertisement. False advertisement. He's got a big ad that he's running right now on Superior Singing. And then you guys, you can do this. You can go to Superior Singing right now. I took a snapshot just this morning, and the snapshot is Superior Singing. He claims to be the most popular vocal coach on the internet, right? Look at the ad. I am the most popular vocal coach on the internet. You want to know why? Because I care. I care. It's not like Care Bears. I care, right? And so go to his thing, and he has right now, let me put my glasses on. I'm going to give you, this is as of this morning. By the way, a lot of these were paid for through a lot of his advertising. I'm going to get to that in a second. But 440,000 subscribers. 440,000 subscribers, okay? He claims to be the most popular coach on the internet. Now, I'm not looking to toot my own horn. I don't care. I don't advertise this. But I have 857,000 subscribers. I have exactly almost twice as many, okay? And I didn't get it by paying for ads and having videos that are paid for. I did this organically, 100%, and I have a channel with a lot of video tutorials proving out what I teach. Now let's move on. False advertisement. The next one is he has his total view count. Total view count right now is 25,866,523 views as of this morning, okay? And that's a lot of views. Now, a couple of his paid advertisement videos, those alone are in the millions, so those have been paid for. Those weren't organic. Hey, I want to, this is you made this demonstration, I want to know who you are. Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy has 113,485,495 views. That's over 4 times, almost 5 times as many views, okay? Now, I'm not saying this to bash anybody. I'm just talking about honesty and integrity in advertising. I'm the most popular vocal coach. There's nobody more popular than me, and I care. I'm going to teach you. I'm the most popular because I care. Hey, go look at his site. It's there for you to see. Everyone can see it. And I'm not saying I'm the most popular. I've never even looked. I don't care. I'm just going to give you guys information and do the best I can. But it's interesting because this guy's claiming to be the most popular vocal coach. If he's willing to lie, if he's willing to deceive you, what else is he willing to do? And what credentials does he even have to teach anyway? What school did he go to? What vocal coach did he learn under? What vocal coach did any of these guys learn under? Where did they get their information from? Right? Think about that. Guys, this is really important information. So, and again, I wasn't looking to toot my own horn, but I just wanted to point out that this is clickbait. They're using this stuff, 30-day singer guys, clickbait, to get you to click, then to suck you in with their advertising and their enticing things, alluring things to try to get you in it. But it's very important because, guys, advertising is not a bad thing. We all need it. I'm technically advertising to you right now. You know, oh, am I advertising you by bashing other vocal coaches? No, actually, I've been very careful about this. I rarely ever talk about this stuff and go into this stuff until it gets to the point where it's so ridiculous. I got to go, guys, don't even buy KTVA. But check these guys out and make sure that the information you're getting is legit. And just because someone's on TV and makes a claim does not make that legit. It does not make it honest or true. Nothing wrong with advertising. We need to advertise. We're all a walking, talking advertisement of sorts. We're all wanting someone to like us or like something we do. There's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, so I bring this up. So I gotta say that for those of you that buy into this stuff, it's not their fault. It's your fault. Let me say it again. It's not their fault. There's a lot of people get rich quick schemes. There's a lot of them out there, right? If you think that there's a get rich quick scheme that is gonna get you, I mean, just go to Vegas and gamble. I think it'd probably be more fun, right? Line number 5: the coach tells you have to keep coming back. Come back to me over and over again, so that I can. It reminds me. This is gonna be terrible. Oh man, if my sister's watching the show, I hope she's okay with this. When my sister, by the way, I didn't mean to laugh about that. I'm laughing about it's a nervous laughter. Okay, so my sister had a really, really, really horrible motorcycle accident with her daughter, and my mom and my sister were walking across the street in the broad daylight, going from her apartment to 7-Eleven. My sister was in the front, and she had Brianna, was her daughter's name, with her hand, holding her hand in the back. It was on a street called Catella in Anaheim, California. She had her hand with Brianna on one hand, and my mom had Brianna's hand on the other hand, and they were just happily walking across the street. This was like at noon, broad daylight. A motorcycle of a guy dressed in black came out of nowhere, turned a corner, and went right through the two and drugged Brianna for about 25 yards. She was brought to the hospital and pronounced brain dead. It was horrible. It was just, and I'm not trying to bring this thing down. I want to show you the veracity, the intensity, and the how tough this was. We get to finally making arrangements for Brianna, and we get to the funeral home, and we're in there and we're looking at little caskets. And this son of a bitch, GDMFer, comes walking out with my sister in tears, asking her how it happened. And my mom's sitting there, I'm sitting there, my brother's sitting there, and he's listening, and he's pretending to listen. And you know what comes out of his mouth? He points to the most expensive casket they had, which my sister didn't have anywhere near $25,000 for a casket, and said, "Then you'll want nothing less than the best for your little girl." In true Sicilian fashion, I just said, "You GDMF," and I just started screaming bloody murder. I grabbed my sister, we walk out of this place, and we found a reputable place for my sweet little niece. Now, I say that not to bring this whole thing down, but I say that because people will say anything to get your money. They'll do anything. They are so unscrupulous. They're so dark and whatever. Guys, I'm hoping that Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, you see by the 1,000 videos I have out where I'm trying to give you good quality information, I'm just opening up my books to you guys, going, here's what I do, here's how you do it. If you like it, cool. If you don't, maybe there's someone else that you can work with. That's all awesome. But watch out for these guys, because I bring this up because of the vocal coaches that will keep telling you to come back to them for years for information, and you get no better, and you're going, well, I know how to do a lip drill, I could do a tongue exercise, I know about my falsetto, right? Now, by the way, in fairness too, some psychologists do this too. Oh my gosh, you've got these deep-rooted things from your past, maybe even a past life, and you got to come back to me for years of counseling. Unfortunately, this spills over into a lot of other disciplines. It's not just singing coaching. It's not just used car salesmen. It's not just attorneys. It's, this is a pandemic. Dare I use that word, right? So that is another lie. They keep telling you to come back over and over again. And that, now there are those people that need hand-holding. I get it. There's some people, I want to learn from a guy in person, for example, Well, just because someone's in person doesn't mean they've got good information to give you. So I've got to learn. I got to be in person. I can't do this online thing, right? And most people are learning they can't do it online because they have to with this COVID thing, right? But just all information is not created equal. Remember that. And remember, too, that just because someone's in person showing you something or trying to show you something doesn't make it good information for you. It could be. It could be. I'm not saying it's not, but just because they're in person doesn't make it great, okay? Very big deal. So now, the next thing is lie number 6. You were born with a specific voice type, and you can never change. Now, we covered this in my session on Vocal Fox, but as you know, I'm a baritone, a high baritone, and I'm able to sing in just about any vocal timbre, registration, whatever that I want to sing in. I've showed this through all my demonstrations, and my students, I show them with them as well. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Just because I'm a baritone doesn't mean I can only sing in a baritone range. Now, did I have to work really hard at getting into other vocal fox, different styles and ranges and whatnot? Absolutely, I worked really hard. That's how I give you this information how to do it, so that you guys can do it too. But understand that this is a lie. Short guys can only do X. Short guys can never do this, or tall guys can never do what a short guy does. Just not true. Now, they may be more suited for that, and maybe their more natural ability to do something. That is true. But the tortoise and the hare, right? The tortoise and the hare. The tortoise wins every time. If he's still slow and steady, wins the race. And over time, that tortoise is going to win out with good information and good discipline. So now, and also, just buying a vocal course, I want to add to this on the online side of this, just buying a vocal course isn't going to make you great either. Now, first of all, you got to make sure that what's in the vocal course is information that's going to make you great. That's one thing, but you've got to do it. Okay, you've got to discipline and set aside the time consistently to do it. So just buying something, I have all kinds of real estate books that I bought that I never got a chance to read. To go out and buy and sell real estate. It doesn't make me great at it until I apply it, until I dig in, until I do it. So that's also the onus again of that is on you. So pay attention, because I want to get back to this, verified information and unverified information. I'm not looking for, this. I'm going to get to the last one, number 7. And you guys, if you can help me out here and know that this isn't meant to be some negative thing. In fact, it's kind of humorous, right? Lie number 7. Coaches or so-called singing authorities looking to gain quick attention that will do anything, particularly unverified bashing. Unverified bashing. What is unverified bashing? They will make some negative claim. People are doing this to me right now. People do this to other people. There was one vocal coach a while back that just did it to everybody, and that's how his whole claim to fame built his whole business, then he vanished. But they will make some negative claim and try to build a case for it, right? They'll even falsify things, or they'll take one portion out of something that you say and try to say, see, look, and then I can prove it, right? So they try to build some case, and they set themselves up as an authority. They want to set themselves up as the authority over that. Because when someone makes a claim against someone else, they're saying, I'm putting myself above you. I'm better than you. I have information that trumps your information. It supersedes. It's better than your information. Listen to me. Everybody look at me, right? That is what they're saying. So, okay, let's look at you. Everybody, let's look at you. So, as they build for this case for their thing, the first thing is, the proof is in the singing. Can they sing? I don't care what they say. I don't care what cool little videos they put together and all these claim that other people are doing with their course and no. Can they themselves prove it themselves? And do they display other students? Guys, we've got to keep going back to this. We've got to keep coming back to this. It's the only way you're going to know what's legit and what's not. So as they make these bogus claims, or they make these claims again, bring it on. Prove it. Don't just make a statement about it and bash somebody. And by the way, there's, the other thing about this is there's a lot of haters out there, and they love to hate. So they love to go, oh, see, I knew it. I just knew it. That guy sucks, right? And you know why they do that? Why the haters are out there? Because they can't do it themselves. They can't get the legit information, whatever, and they just love the darkness of the hate game, the hate train, right? And it blows my mind that anyone would listen to trash talking of someone trash talking over someone else without proving it themselves. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's one thing if, Yngwie Malmsteen or Eddie Van Halen goes, yeah, that young guitar player, he sucks, and here's why. Take that, kid. Right? Okay, I believe the guy that just did that crazy lick. My bet's on that guy, right? And they have no verified background of where they got their information. When I started today's session, I did it entirely predicated on showing you my backstory, my history, and giving you a foundation of how I got my information. I even named names. I have no problem with you guys knowing, hey, man, I took from this guy for this many years, and that guy flew out to see this guy, this whatever. And some of the biggest vocal coaches in the world. And I still had trouble. But none of these vocal coaches are doing that. None of them. None of them say where they got it. None of them prove it. None of them sing. None of them show students sing. I mean, it's just like, but they have the gift of baffle gab. They have the gift of selling you whatever, right? Selling a nun a condo in Beirut. I mean, they have the gift of baffle gab. It's amazing. And people listen to it because they're charismatic. They've got some charisma, or they've got some fancy way of editing something. So if anyone has a legit gripe about something, it's really easy. This is a really easy fix. Prove it. Just prove it. When you say something derogatory or something contrary, even just contrary, no problem. It could be real. Well, let's hear it. Bring it on. Prove it. Sing it. Do it. Show us. Oh, we just want to see it. That's all. Okay? And like I said many times, anybody can raise their hand and claim to be a vocal coach. Anybody. Right? But so how do you know? This is how you know. This is the criteria. This should be the litmus test. This should be the filter by which you look at it. And like I said from the beginning, KTV may not be right with you. That's totally cool, man. Or maybe just some of it's right. You learn from me, and you like my personality, or someone else's personality is you feel more comfortable with. Hey, no problem. But I'm going to point out some cool things. I want you, when you can, on your own time, and I'll try to put this in the description. I want you to go Ken Tamplin Wikipedia. I just want you to Google it. And I just want you to look at, and by the way, it has far from all the stuff that I've done, but it shows all the film and TV stuff done. Doesn't talk about any of my touring. It does talk about 4 bands that I've been in. Shows you 40 records, 40 records I've been personally responsible for playing on. How many of these vocal coaches have even a single record out? Even one. Just one. I'd like to hear your voice. I'd like to hear you sing. That's the first thing. Second thing is if you look at all the TV shows and all the other life experience things that are related to that, you can go to imdb.com, Google Ken Tamplin. See all the TV shows and all the feature films I've worked on, that I've sung on, that I've composed for, This means that I have a very rich history in the music entertainment industry. Very rich, very deep, runs very long, right? I just want to see these vocal coaches post anything they've done. Even if it's just a high school play, which we've seen on a couple of guys' sites, or a college theater thing they've done. I mean, at least we get something, right? Don't you want to hear them sing? I mean, they're in charge of your voice. You're actually, trusting them with your most precious asset, your voice, to sing. You better make sure that you check out these guys and what qualifies them to the claims that they make as far as vocal coaches. So now, again, I know this sounded like a big old rant, but I had to say this because I get a lot of, confusing things. People ask a lot of confusing things, what about mixed voice? What about, well, this guy says that and that guy says that, blah, 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 whatever. And I can only give you the information that I have personal experience with. And I show this and demonstrate this. I do this in my course, which is, it'll last you the rest of your life. You buy my singing course, it's not something you're going to get in 30 days. Man, if you could do volume 1 in 30 days, I would be really surprised. And I have discounted this to a point where you've got something for a couple $100 that you'll never finish. It's that good. There's that much information in it. And you will enter new levels of consciousness. Oh, that's what he meant by that. Now I understand it. Now that'll take me to this level, like playing a video game and going all these different levels, going, wow, I'm going to get the prize at the end, right? So anyway, guys, I'm going to answer some questions here. But again, remember that just because, gee, Ma, it's got to be true, I saw it on TV, right? No. Verify. Russian proverb. Russian proverb. Trust but verify. Daniel says, can anyone learn to sing? Is that true? Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I have a video of Ed Sheeran on this. Ed Sheeran comes out and says, man, listen to me sing. Go to KenTamplinVocalAcademy.com and click on the Ed Sheeran video and check out how horrible he's sang. You know, some people say, oh, you still can't sing. Okay, make your funny jokes. I get it. Do you think he's a great singer? It doesn't matter. He can sing and he's owned the world with his voice. So he's been able to express his art in a way that he went from horrible singer to Ed Sheeran. Next one, Painkiller. I stopped singing because I'm baritone who can't sing high. I sound terrible. Well, ironically that you're called the Painkiller because I'm a baritone and I sang the Painkiller and I shouldn't have been able to do it, but I did. And I'm, you know, so you've got to work your voice, man. That's what I said. I keep coming. Adam, is it possible to move up 6 keys on the piano in less than 1 month? Absolutely not. No. Nope, Adam, don't try it. You're gonna hurt yourself. Adam, let me ask you a question. You're in the gym right now, and the most you could do is you're gonna military. You know, you're gonna do 100 pounds, right? So Adam wants to know, hey, in 1 month, can I add double my weight? Can I go to 200 pounds in a month? No, dude, you're gonna hurt yourself, man. Not only can you not do it, not only physically can you not do it. No, we get a note, and then we get another note, and then a month or two later, man, if we're really like we get another note. Man, when I was younger and I was singing F sharp, 4 G4. Man, when I hit A's, 2 notes, 1 full step away, I was so stoked. When I hit my first B a couple years later, by the way, you can grow faster than that. I was having to, again, get new information to help me understand how to do this. I hit my B then. Now, there was a point in my life when I learned about the correct way to connect the passaggio and how to grow it. I went from only being able to sing an A or a B to singing an octave of that with usable range. But it was with correct information, and it took me a little over a year to be able to strengthen that muscle, the passaggio in the center, to be able to pull that off. So if you're doing it right, plan for about a year, to get that many notes on your range. Let's see here. We have Chill, C. Bill Hill, 49. Ken, are amphitheaters at the back of the throat? Do some go up as in deal with heavier weights and edge towards the mask, and some goes down and deal with lighter weights? Yeah, Bill, that's a really, really good question, or CB Hill. The amphitheaters themselves are actually really, think of them as working with resonators to build this pocket where when it hits this certain placement, the vowel modification, the placement in the back of the throat, it's able to seat that vowel without strain or stress in the throat. So we need to just start there and look at that amphitheater as that's its primary function. Within that function, can that vowel in that specific placement, depending on the range, can that vowel itself be brought forward into the mask for higher resonation, a more bright tone, crystal clear, brighter tone, or can we darken that? That usually is directly related to the soft palate in the back and how that's manipulated, and the color is actually manipulated by the vocal tract itself, the shaping of the throat. So I don't actually cover that exact same way in my course. So, if you ever want to just do a quick 30-minute lesson with me, I can demonstrate that for you and show you exactly how to do that. So next question is, Mark, I know this sounds dumb, but I didn't realize all these singers had vocal coaching. I just believe the lie that they're just born great. It is. It's a great big lie. Not only were they not born great, but they can't keep their voices even though they are great. So that's another big lie. They just open up their mouth and sing. No, really great performers, we warm up for an hour, hour and a half before we go out, before we ever touch the stage. Pavarotti was known for singing 6 hours a day. I mean, he would go out, he'd warm up for 75 minutes to an hour, to 2 hours, before doing an aria, and the arias could go on for 2 to 3 hours. I mean, depending on the aria. So no, man, we work out. Gosh, I work out. What's that one song? I'm too sexy for myself, whatever. Sweet Cyanide. Ooh. If I can't sing for all my life, can I learn? Yes, I already said you can learn. Yes, you can learn to sing. Ava, I had a question. How old do you have to be to join your singing academy? Because I'm 12. Well, actually, that's a little young, Ava. I recommend getting my singing course first. Getting your parents or someone you trust to kind of sit with you going through the course. That's a little young. You're getting ready to hit your second growth spurt. So you're going to start to go into puberty or through puberty for your voice. That 13 would be a good time to start. So about a year from now. Not saying you can't do it at 12, and I have had students that young. But it's usually students that have already been doing my course first have familiarized themselves with it so that I can actually walk them through the process then arduously starting you at ground zero as a one-on-one training and going up from there. But do the course. It will absolutely help you. Saad says, how long does it take to learn singing with your course? Well, if you're never sung before, and it depends on what you sing, if you're learning to sing Happy Birthday or Take It Easy by the Eagles, you should be able to do that in a few months. If you're talking about something a lot more difficult, or the bar is set a lot higher, it's going to take you years, dude, couple 3 years to learn how to sing halfway decent. And that's the truth, by the way. It's not, I'm going to make you great in 30 days. Lauren, I'm having problems singing with resonance. It sounds sharp and compressed, but when I listen back, it doesn't sound really, wait, let's do this again. I'm having problems with singing with resonance. It sounds sharp and compressed, but when I listen it back, it doesn't sound really amazing. Can you help me with that? Yeah, actually, it's called open throat technique. I cover this in my singing course, Laurent, so please defer to that. And if you don't and can't afford it, that's okay too. I've got hundreds of YouTube tutorials to get you started to familiarize yourself with open throat technique. This is precisely what you're looking to do, is what I teach in open throat technique. Lindsay, I keep seeing ads for the bald guy's singing course, and he never sings, LOL. It's just some stupid mum scales choir teachers have you do. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly right. It's regurgitating information, stealing it, doing this, that, whatever, and putting it in his course. And again, hey, look, maybe this guy's helped people. Maybe he's helped people. All I can say is that I go back to this analogy, and I'm going to, bring one more analogy in. There are all kinds of different physical trainers, okay? Physical trainers, not singing trainers. And some of them are a lot more advanced than others. Quick example of that. My son was a big soccer player, as you know, and I would get him training of all sorts, and I wanted him to have a strength trainer. So I hired a gal named Sabrina Witt here in Newport Beach, California. Sabrina played for the women's national team, soccer team, and was a very advanced physical trainer. Very advanced, okay? Now, this went on. I got him some running training. I got very advanced training. Now, someone that knows very little or nothing about this, and I've used this analogy before, I want to use it one more time. Let's say I'm a very inexperienced trainer, or one that doesn't really know that much. And let's say you want to lose 50 pounds and you're really out of shape, okay? And I tell you, hey, run up to that stop sign and back. And you run up to that stop sign and back, and man, you're so spent. And we do this for a few weeks at a time. I keep telling you to run up, do the scale, do the same scale over and over. You do the scale. And by osmosis, after about the first week, 2 weeks, or whatever, you're going, hey, I'm starting to feel a little stronger, and I actually lost a couple pounds. This bald guy must really be doing something good for me. He gave you little or no legit real information. It's why he doesn't display great student singing, because that information can only go so far. Now, did that guy lose a little weight from running up and down the street? Yeah, he did, because I told him, hey, run up and down the street. Was the information I gave him a revelation or some new, amazing, something very hard to come by information that I could prove out myself? No, he didn't give that. And so by osmosis, he runs up and down the street. You do this a few times, you lose a little weight. Go, man, I lost 30 pounds, with the bald guy's course, hey, this is awesome. And then you go, and you hit a brick wall. And the brick wall is that information can only take you so far, and it has a ceiling to it. And once you hit that ceiling, you can go no farther. And was the information that you learned, the information my son learned about how to correctly lift a weight, how to correctly do, push-ups or whatever, weight lifted, push-ups, how to run correctly, all those things. If he didn't get correct, legit information that helps him get to the next level, had he learned bad habits, so what? You're in there lifting weights. But if you learn something that you can't get beyond that, and you embedded a bad habit, it's murder to try to get rid of that bad habit and retrain the body into a good habit. So you need to start out with quality information first. Wherever you think that comes from, start out with quality information first, and then take necessary steps to improve that. Gang, I'm done. I'll take more questions later. I appreciate all you guys. This will be my last day in Newport. I'm back to my regular studio starting this week. So you'll see, again, a scenery change. And I appreciate all the questions, all you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully this information was beneficial. Hopefully we got to, have some, turn this from a negative concept or whatever into great tutorials to teach you guys how to find a coach that can help you. Okay? With that said, God bless you, gang. Until next time, peace out.